Hi guys, so we are going to pick up the horses today from the stable that they're currently being boarded at 2 o'clock, and then we're bringing them home. So I'm extremely excited slash very nervous. This is a big step for us, so I thought just to kill some time I'm going to give you guys a tour of the barn and the main paddock, and just to kind of specify that this is sort of my version, if you will, of a very natural horse barn. So keep that in mind, as there are no stalls. Okay, so this is the front of the barn. We have a Shelter Logic building to the left, and that serves as my hay shed slash grooming supply shed slash horse blanket shed. The barn is very close to the house, which I really like. All right, so a lot of work has been done to this barn. It was actually completely open on the front side here, and we've closed it in. But to start this tour, I'm going to take you guys inside of my little hay shed first. And here we are. This shed is 10 by 15. And when you first walk in, over to the left, I just have kind of like, your basic grooming things that don't really need to be stored inside, or I'm not, worried about these things being stolen, that kind of stuff. Let's see, we've got Epsom salt, we've got some fly spray, Microtech, Shoshin, that kind of stuff. In here I have my, might as well just open it and show you. Soaking boots, different like targets and stuff that I use for training. Ernie's hoof boots are in there. And then the actual frame of the shelter I use to hang my blankets. And also extra halters and lead ropes. That works really well. So in here now, I currently have, I'll lift it up so you can see, 3 round bales. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 small square bales. But we could probably, if I wanted to, I could definitely fit probably maybe even 5 round bales. I do intend to switch solely to feeding round bales. Round bales get a really bad rap, and they shouldn't. As long as the farmer that you're buying them from doesn't bale them too tightly, and they are stored inside and they were never rained on, as long as the grass that they're making the round bale with is something that you want to feed your horses, there's nothing wrong with round bales. Especially if you're going to feed them the way I'm feeding them, which is I pull the hay off the round bale in here, stuff the hay nets, and then feed them to the horses. So the only issue that you might run into with feeding round bales is if you feed the entire bale outside unprotected. Yes, it will get rained on, and if you don't have enough horses to eat it down fast enough, then there's potential for mold, but also dust. Just because it's such a large bale, the inside of the bale can get a little dusty, but if you break it up the way I'm feeding it, putting it in hay nets, all of the dust that is on the hay will fall out before the horses ever touch it. So it works really well. So that's the hay shed. All right, we're coming back through here, and we're gonna head into the barn. So my husband just made this for me so that we can keep this back door open. I guess technically this would be considered the back of the barn. Oh well. This is just a chain link fence gate that we had from our old house. So I can leave the actual door propped open, and then the horses can stick their heads out and get a nice breeze. So I really like that a lot. And that's how you latch it. Okay. So now we're inside the barn. My husband has some ladders hanging up there. Hay nets. The hay nets that you saw, the black ones inside of the hay shed, are really, really big. So during the winter months, I'll be feeding them, and you actually attach them with carabiners. So that's why there's 3 there. But during the summer, I'm just using smaller nets, so I only have 1. We put in the kick walls here. There's about 10 inches of 2A gravel, which is, if you're not familiar with, everybody like labels stone differently. So in my area, 2A is smaller pieces of gravel mixed with limestone dust. So let me see if I can show you. So like this would be considered like limestone dust. It's very fine. And then it's mixed with some larger pieces. So I chose that just because I wanted to make sure there was really good drainage in here. Because before we put in the gutters on the barn, there was a ton of water in here, and it was pretty soupy mud in some spots. So these mineral feeders will be filled with salt, and also probably a Himalayan salt block. There's my water trough. Decided to put it inside just so it's out of the elements. It'll keep it cooler in the summer. It will hopefully protect it from freezing in the winter. It'll make it a little bit easier to put in a tank heater when it's on the inside. And here's the other side of the barn. Hay net, another salt mineral feeder, little jelly ball, another ladder. Just like little things I think people might find interesting. I'm just a big like safety person. So I had my husband make a cabinet to protect and store the fence charger. So most people keep their fence chargers inside the barn. Pretty normal, keeps them out of the elements. But I just didn't want the horses to be able to touch it. So he built a quick little cabinet, and it works great. Oh, one other thing I wanted to show you guys. I found this on Amazon. It's a solar light. It has LEDs, very, very bright. Let me take you outside really quick. Oh, you're probably not gonna be able to see it. All right, never mind. There's a solar panel outside the barn that charges the battery, and then it comes with a remote. It might not look very bright right now because we are looking at this during the day, but that's it. Ooh. Where's off? Okay, there's off. On and off. Okay, maybe the remote's not the best. But it was $30 on Amazon, so whatever. And then I want to show you guys just a full view here. So the inside of the barn is roughly 24 by 24. And I had gone back and forth about I knew I didn't want to do traditional stalls, but I was kind of debating, should I do a temporary stall setup like with corral panels. Ernie can be a little defensive. He can, you know, kind of guard his resources, if you will. But at the end of the day, I thought this is plenty of space for a horse to get out of another horse's way. They have a nice big 8-foot wide barn door that will be open if one of them needs to escape. You know, there's nothing in here for them to really get hurt on. So I think sometimes it's just best to let nature take care of itself, let the horses figure it out. I'm not really worried. I think it's going to be fine, but I will update you either way. Okay, so here's something that some people might find interesting, a little bit of a different idea. Number one, I made a stone pad out of the same material that's at the bottom of the barn. So this is the 2A. And underneath of this, there's a little section here. You can still see it, is an old carpet. So just a scrap piece of carpet that we actually pulled out of the house. I think this is like a, let's see, maybe a 10 by 8, something like that, piece of carpet that I laid out and then topped with a good 6 or 8 inches of this 2A material. So this will serve as a high traffic pad. Obviously the horses are going to be coming in and out of here quite a bit. And I wanted to make sure that whatever happens to the paddock here will remain nice and dry. And then you guys might be like, what the heck is that? So this is a windbreak. We get a lot of crosswinds coming from, there's a big open field there, coming in towards the barn. And I wanted to make sure that the horses, more so in the winter time, were a little bit more sheltered from that wind. So we have 2 T-posts, you can see them on this side, driven in, and then you just slip the pallet right over the T-posts. And I can always take them off if I want to and just throw caps on the T-posts and just leave them in the ground. And then in the summertime, it does still serve a purpose, because if we get a big storm and there's a lot of wind coming from that direction, it will protect my shavings from being blown all through the barn. And we have actually already kind of seen this in action, and it does work pretty well. So obviously it doesn't block all of the wind, but it just kind of dissipates it enough that it doesn't really disturb the shavings. And it's not high enough that the horses, being that obviously they're much taller than a pallet, can still get that nice like summer breeze. So it should work out pretty well. But again, I think with everything when you're starting a farm, you never know really until you try it. So here's my idea. I'll let you know if it works. Okay, so here's the main paddock. Do a little pan around here. We did a 3-strand poly braid fence with 6-foot T-posts. Goes the whole way around to there. It's roughly 100 feet across, like from the road up to there, and about 80 feet wide. And they've got a nice big tree here that soon will be full of leaves and will hopefully offer them some nice shade in the summertime. So obviously this is not a huge space, but if you've watched my previous video, you would know that our farm is set up to be a paddock paradise. So yes, this is a small paddock, but this is considered their loafing area, and they won't be here all of the time. So they're just going to come in here to get out of the heat in the summertime, get a drink, lick some salt, hang out, take a nap, and then most of the time they should be walking the track. So the start of the track is here. The way I've designed this is we have 3 strands that come across here. I'm just going to show you guys all of these details because if I was setting up a paddock paradise, I would find these details very helpful because it took me a while to really come up with this design. So I've chosen to use a tree as part of the gate because obviously it's very secure. And then I have these tree post insulators. And what I did is I flipped them up. I have my main poly braid coming through the top, and then I've used the bottom to be my attachment for my gate handle. So then when I want to open up the track, I will remove the gate handle, just the top one. We'll swing it over towards the right. You can see there's a little insulator on that stump right there. And then it attaches, I hope you guys can see that. See if I can zoom in here. There's a step-in post there with a loop on it. I will loop the gate handle, or hook the gate handle into that loop, and then that serves as a way, or as a means to make my internal fence hot. And then these bottom two poly ropes, I will just loop up and just hang here against the T-post so they're out of the way. So by opening the gate and attaching the handle to that loop, that's how I make the internal fence hot on the track. So if I feel like there's a day where there's just too much rain, or maybe there's an ice storm in the winter and I feel like the track is not safe and I just want to confine them to this main paddock, then I just bring that fence back around. And same system here. So will be anyway, a ground wire that will go underneath these two posts. That'll make sure that when I detach this gate handle and swing it around, this one's a little closer so you can see it, swing it around and attach it to that step-in post with the loop, then that makes that internal fence hot. And then these two bottom poly ropes are just looped up and kept out of the way. So that's how everything stays electrified in our little setup. Let's see, what else can I show you? Oh, I think this is a cool idea. This is not my idea. I don't take any credit for it. There's a group on Facebook. It's called Enrichment for Horses. Highly recommend it. A lot of really cool ideas. So one of the things that people had mentioned on there was just the use of herbs in their horse keeping. So what I've decided to do is we have a lot of stumps on the property here in the main paddock and also throughout the whole track. And what I'm going to do is buy a bunch of horse safe herbs, and every time there's a stump, maybe not every single stump, but I'll pick like maybe 2 a day or something, and they will be the herb stump of the day. So being that the horses are coming this afternoon, I want to make sure that they are calm and they're very comfortable in their new environment. So I've chosen some chamomile, and I've sprinkled, you can see it pretty well there, I sprinkled a bunch of chamomile on top of this stump. So I hope they like it. I hope they lick it and enjoy it. But if not, oh well. All right, so that's about it, everybody. Let's see. Not that this is super important, but this is where I'm storing my shavings. Just kind of right behind the hay shed. Got some piles of hay here. Will they touch it with all this grass? Probably not, but I just wanted them to come in here and be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. There's so much food. There's this massive soft bed of fluffy pine shavings in the barn. My life is amazing. So hopefully mission accomplished. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed my little barn tour. Hope you found some inspiration for your barn, and I wish you guys all the best. Peace.